top of the headlines. After watching 18 months of lunacy from Team Biden, maybe nothing surprises you anymore. Not even today's news that Alejandro Mayorkas and Biden's Department of Homeland Security have approved construction for a new section of Trump's horrible, racist, xenophobic border wall. And the best part, this massive steel 30-foot wall is being built in the bluest state in the country and will destroy what's been called Friendship Park, which is a place where Americans and Mexicans can meet at the border and actually speak through the fence. People can hold hands with their family through the fence. Biden's new wall will block Americans from even accessing that part and that colorful, friendly type fence we have at the border. It is kind of priceless when you think about it, and not a peep from the media on this. Now, think if Trump had done it, MSNBC would be live from the border to witness the fascist destruction of a park that once symbolized peace and unity. We'll stay on that story, of course. Staying at the border, the White House continues to ignore the horrific reality that 1 in 3 women and teens are raped on their journey to Biden's open border oasis. Rather than solve that issue, the Biden White House is just moving pregnant teens at migrant shelters across state lines to get abortions, which are now illegal in Texas after 6 weeks. Now, liberals see this story. They're enraged that pregnant teens may miss the narrow abortion window in Texas, but ignore the fact that the administration, the White House right now, is so clearly apathetic to hundreds of thousands of sexual assaults on the journey to Biden's open border oasis, as I said. Think about that. Think about the logic there. Also staying on abortion, one of the most radical and mindless members of Congress is enraged that taxpayer dollars cannot be explicitly used to pay for abortions. Take a listen to Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush fighting to get rid of the Hyde Amendment today.
The House is ready to advance legislation when we get back to D.C. next month to finally repeal the Hyde Amendment. The Senate needs to step up. The Senate must step up to get rid of this racist, draconian, discriminatory policy.
Racist and discriminatory policy. Now, just try to follow this logic here. It's racist and discriminatory to not let Planned Parenthood, an organization started by the most racist woman who's ever lived, to use taxpayer dollars to fund the abortion of mostly black babies. It's a very interesting take there from Cori Bush, but we'll let her have it. In other news today, a very stark warning on inflation and the economy. Christopher Waller from the Fed Board of Governors says he's pushing for another massive rate hike this month and likely another big one coming in September. From his perspective, and this is a big name at the Fed, the drastic measures that we have already taken have not done much at all on inflation.
Inflation, which is just too high and doesn't seem to be coming down. So my view is we need to move to a much more restrictive setting in terms of interest rates and policy, and we need to do that as quickly as possible.
There's already been a lot done. Mortgage rates are double what they were 6 months ago, and nothing's happening on inflation, according to this man. We could be in for a really ugly couple years. Trish Regan joins us in about 10, 12 minutes to analyze just how bad things could get, and it's getting worse every single day. Also, tonight's story we've been following, the bail for a bodega worker who killed a man in self-defense in New York City has been lowered from $250,000 down to $50,000. Jose Alba was attacked last week while working at a bodega by a man who was very angry over a bag of chips and the price of them. Alba was attacked relentlessly. We showed you the video before pulling a knife, finally, and stabbing his attacker. The attacker ended up dying. That's what happens. Radical left DA Alvin Bragg, unsurprisingly, did not hesitate to charge Alba with murder for his move of self-defense. And Alvin Bragg actually pushed for $500,000 bail, even though Alba has no criminal history and even has surrendered his passport. They don't care. All they care about is protecting criminals. Fundraising site GoFundMe, which has become insanely political in recent years, actually took down Alba's page after it had raised $20,000 for his bail. But there is at least one New Yorker defending Alba, and it happens to be the mayor, Eric Adams, once a cop himself, who had a moment of clarity today. Take a listen.
My heart goes out to that employee who was in the store doing his job. And so I am hoping that we take all of that into consideration as this hard-working New Yorker was doing his job and someone aggressively went behind the counter to attack him.
Good on him for saying that, and that makes a lot of sense. Whatever you think of Eric Adams, we do have a better mayor than we did. We just have a much worse DA now. That's the story with New York City. We'll keep you posted on this story. And finally, England's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resigned amid a number of scandals. I'm sure you saw the story today. Boris, once a chief architect of Brexit, has softened in more recent years. What angered Brits the most was his heavy-handed lockdown protocols. They really locked down over in the UK. And then, a couple months into COVID, Boris throws a party at his residence in May of 2020. Here was Boris today.
I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world. But them's the breaks.
Kind of a likable guy.